system in place to keep us in chains. By show of hands, who else is sick and tired of the same? 1% trying to keep us small, trying to keep us from getting out. Minimizing the struggles they've caused, saying we're not working hard enough.
We really should stop this fighting. Otherwise, we'll miss the fireworks.
There won't be any fireworks.
And here we go.
And welcome everybody to Suck It. I am the great and powerful King of Kings, Prince of all that is awesome, Derek. How the fuck are you tonight on this February 12th of the horrible year that has been 2021? Oh, what a week it has been. You know, I have become officially the most hated man in the entire flat earth community, which is fine by me. We'll just go ahead and give a 2 thumbs up on that. And I've been completely shit on this week. So you know what? I'm just going to continue to smile and have a good time and talk to musicians and do what I do best, because that's what I do here. So come along for the ride and enjoy the shit that I bring to you, because tonight I've got a special one. The man I have on with me tonight has worked with, countless other artists, including Macklemore and so many others, and is getting ready to release a deluxe version of his newest album, which is called Failure Sculptures. He's just an amazing musician, just in everything else in between. So please, let's just, get it out of the way here and talk to the alter ego of Christopher Mansfield, and let's talk to FENCES. What is going on, man?
That was really good. That was your intro was great. It was exciting and complimentary, and you're good at this.
I try.
What is going on? Yeah, no, that's funny. The flat Earth thing. You're hated by the flat Earth community. I was like, I just want to wait to chime in on that. I mean, I'll tell you how I am. I'm fine. I'm a human. I'm sitting around. I'm okay. But that's remarkable. So you are denouncing the flat Earth theory, probably.
So, correct. So what ended up happening was this past week, I had a guy on that was a flat earther, and I did not agree with the things that he was saying.
Yeah.
And it ended up going really bad, and it was quite interesting, to say the least.
Yeah.
And then after the fact, he completely had all of his minions attack me. And
well, that's what's kind of funny about those guys is that, like, there's like people who believe in like Shiva and Jesus Christ, and people have all these like crazy like moral codes and thought processes and sort of like deities that they invent and little stories and everything. But the people that are the most defensive over their weird thing is the flat earthers are very defensive. If you say like no way you can see the curvature, I mean, they lose it. They're very protective of that ideal.
They are,
which is interesting. And I don't know, I mean, I'm probably gonna get a bunch of hate now, but I feel like because I weird to say this on a fucking podcast, but I have like bipolar disorder.
Me too. We're good.
I can tell. No offense. But I take like Wellbutrin or whatever, and kind of do my thing. But a lot of my great music has like come out of my manic states and things. I mean, I wouldn't even be a musician if I wasn't bipolar, which is interesting. But there's a great book called Touch with Fire that is essentially saying, if sometimes if you have bipolar, you can do all this genius stuff. But I have noticed in some of my low areas of the disorder of some kind of mental illness, I'll start to see like patterns and things, and start thinking kind of these like funny things like flat earth or whatever. So I can say from personal experience that a concept such as that, to me, There's a white hearse right there. See, I could if me seeing a white hearse could spin me out for hours, but you know what I'm joking. But I feel like a concept like that is essentially based in mental illness, which is, you know, probably pretty offensive, but that's just mental illness.
I agree. And I'm bipolar as well. I suffer from bipolar 2, generalized anxiety disorder, and PTSD. Actually, that's the whole central theme of this show. The whole idea of Suck It Podcast comes from me growing up in the 90s as a kid with mental illness and constantly being told to suck it up. And that's not something you can do. You can't suck up mental illness. So my response to them was always suck it. So that's the name of the show.
Yeah, you're right. It's you're like in like the war and your leg got blown off and they just say walk it off. It doesn't work.
Exactly.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, let's break your leg. Walk it off. You're fine. But that's just so. Yeah, that's the week I've had so far. 5 days of absolute, complete shitting on by the flat Earth community, which again I find it hilarious because they have just taken it to another level, and it's just funny as hell. Funny as hell.
That is actually funny. I don't even know if I would mind that assault on me. I think I would just find the humor in it. It's just like, it's so ridiculous, man. I mean, that shit, like, to me, it's like, I get it. I've watched everything about it. You know, I've seen every fucking 2-hour-long YouTube video, and I've I've been like, like there's some points there and stuff, but no, it just isn't real, and that's okay. But it's like if that's what they want to hang their hat on, I mean, I think the more important thing is like, you know, they say like what, you know, get to the rosebud, like the base of like why someone has a thing, like what is the rosebud, right? Like what's the base and like the origin of them wanting to believe in that. And it's usually probably somebody pretty lonely. They probably are afraid of their own mortality. They probably haven't been laid a lot. You know what I mean? It's like, I think that's what it is.
You could be very well fucking right. I mean, and they all gravitate to this one guy, and if you insult that one guy, it's like you insulted Jesus. I mean, that's how hardcore they take it. But again,
so there's like a flat Earth like guru, like they have like a guy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's like this. I mean, there's a couple of them, but the main guy, his name is David Weiss, and he's actually the one I had on the show on Monday, and he got butthurt by some of the things I said and told everybody to come attack me. It's like, oh, thank you. Because, you know, I mean, it only helps the algorithm. I don't care if you're coming to watch it and hate or not. You're coming to watch it, and that helps boost all my numbers. So thank you very much.
Well, no, I mean, that's true. That, I mean, you know, we've all heard that the coin phrase, any publicity is good publicity. And you kind of think, well, maybe like in cancel culture and all that, like that's not inherently true. Like maybe it sometimes can just fuck you and you're done. Yeah. But I mean, I was thinking about like that country guy. I can't think of his name, but you know, he's rather good.
Waylon Harris or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. He said the N word and TMZ caught him, but his streams went up after that.
His album sales, like the hard copies, went up.
I know, and that's
crazy
to me, because I say, oh, all right, well, I guess like, are all music fans just fucking racist? Like, maybe, you know, but maybe it's like when I went to listen to Old Town Road, I just wanted to know what this bullshit was, and I just wanted to hate it. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes you just go look at stuff just to hate it. So maybe a lot of those streams are people being like, fuck this racist guy with the mullet. But I still want to hear what he sounds like. Like I want to have visceral feeling. I want to know what I'm hating. So it may be that, but there's still numbers, right?
Exactly. But at the same time, it's country music, so you don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing.
Yeah. But it seems to me, I mean, I lived in Nashville for a year, and there's like this really weird sort of like, at least to me, you know, folk music and country music is very much intertwined, just almost like mathematically with like blues and like black music. You know, we took it all from like black music, so it's like they've always sort of seemed to be synonymous, like country and blues and stuff, and the way, you know, black music has evolved into hip hop, and you know, they're talking about cultural struggles and just whatever, but it seems there is a blend in Nashville with hip hop and country. Yeah. Like a strong one. Like they really do that. So I feel like, I mean, most people I knew in Nashville, it's like they almost sort of like ape the like kind of the slang and the tonality of like hip hop and stuff. They're kind of like, yeah, man, they all kind of want to rap and stuff like that. It's like there's like a thing. It's like, I don't know, to me, I'm like, man, Nashville like loves hip hop and loves the black community and the black arts and stuff like that. So it's like, it's kind of weird that happened. And maybe that dude's he's probably not even a racist. He probably just throwing around a word and with not like some like real menacing intent. Yeah. But like, you got to kind of know, man, like, you know, don't fucking say that word. Like, I don't even know if I've ever said that word. I feel like if I said that word, like my head would explode or something. I'm just like, it's like so out of bounds. You know? Yeah, especially if you're a, you know, and somebody who's in the public eye. I mean, you can't go saying that kind of stuff. I mean, look what happened to what's his name, Kramer from Seinfeld. What's 10, 15 years ago when he did that? That was horrifying. Yeah, it was. It was so weird because it was like, I get that whole thing where it was like, there was a new comedian, what the fuck was his name? I can't remember. He's on Rogan all the time, but he did that like whole like thing where it was like crowd work, right? Where you sort of like, you bounce off like the shit that people say to you. You do crowd work. Someone says some shit to you, like you're not funny, and you just like, you fucking lay into it for like 30 minutes, and that's like kind of the bit. Yeah. But he didn't even seem to really have a joke. And that's what was like kind of spooky about it. He was just like, he's a, you know, but it was just like, I was just like, because I watched that and I just sort of felt uncomfortable. I'm like, what's the joke? You know what I mean? Like, if there's a joke and there's a spin on it, like maybe, but like, it just felt like he fucking had a nervous breakdown on stage. That's what it sure as hell looked like to me. I mean, yeah, it's that. I mean, even now looking back on it, I mean, I haven't watched that video in years, but I mean, that was such a long, but it still stands out today because of, you know, of of everything that everybody else is doing crap like that. And people are comparing it to this. And then the same thing with what happened to Roseanne Barr, 2 or 3 years ago, whatever it was, when she compared what's her name to looking like a monkey. She was on, apparently like, what's the name Ambien or something. Yeah. Ambien. Yeah. Yeah, they say Ambien, you can like climb a building in your sleep and fucking, or go like kill your ex-boyfriend or something. Like, my you can get pretty funky on that. My mom sleepwalks and sleep cooks on Ambien. Dude, yeah, that would actually be. I would like that. Like, I would like to live with someone who did that, and then they cooked, and then they brought me a plate of food. That would be cool. You know what I mean? In the middle of sleep. It was like weird shit where they like smeared like peanut butter on a steak or something because they're just so out of it, and just like this most like fucked up sleepwalking food. That might not be good. It's actually kind of funny, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's pretty funny. So anyway, what's going on with you, man? How's things going on your end? I'm all right, man. I'm God, I feel like when I used to be asked that question, it felt more kind of personal, and I would come up with some sort of like, you know, very unique, weird answer. But I feel like just the fucking stuff with like COVID and the political things, I feel like we're all a little bit similar, probably in our answer. Everybody's kind of like, oh, you know, getting by, doing it, you know, like we're all just kind of trying. But I used to have a very unique answer. I'm like, well, I've been jogging and doing, you know, whatever. But yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, the reason why, and that's such I mean, that's always my first question, but it's a very cliche question, but at the same time, I usually only ask that question of entertainers,
Hmm.
specifically, musicians and comedians. Because the thing about it is, right now, actors and actresses, most of them are back to work. They all have the COVID-19, they all have COVID restrictions. They're wearing masks in between. They're, doing this. Movie sets are, in full force. TV shows are back in full force. Everything, slowly, but it's still coming back. And,
Yeah.
but on the opposite side, comedy, music, Broadway, stage shows, all these different things have not come back. And
Yeah.
the way that you're used to communicating with your fans, yeah, you put out, a stream, you put out an album, and they download and stream it. But the best way to communicate with a fan is being on stage and being out in front of a crowd and interacting and stage diving, or just, saying, "What the fuck up, Houston?" Whoever, you know what I'm saying? And not being able to do that for the last year has got to be weighing on everybody in different ways.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. Like when I'm almost like kind of like lamenting like live performance, and I've almost like gone through like all the stages of grief where I'm just like, well, I'll just never be able to do that again. That's like how I'm like, maybe like kind of fatalistic or whatever. But I just kind of am like, man, like when can I do that again? Because it's like, I don't know, it just feels very, very far away to me. And it's weird because like that is one of the main issues that I have with being a musician, is that I just say, okay, I put something out, goes on Spotify, and then you kind of just watch the numbers, and that sort of like determines like what dopamine levels you get for your ego, and then it sort of translates into like, monetary stuff, like what, how much money you're going to make. And it's just sort of like, well, what do I do? Do I work in like the stock market? It's like, who am I? It's like, what does this all mean when you just sort of have to break it down to that that kind of system? But performing live is sort of a way to sort of make it not feel like that, and make you realize like why you do this, like what you're doing. It's like, I don't want to be just a cowboy talking about horses. I want to be riding on a horse really fast, through the plains, and that's really what it's about, just playing guitar in front of somebody. So a lot of times, just being out here in LA and stuff at like a party or something, if a guitar is passed around and I get to play like, just one song for, 8 people, 12 people, one person, it feels really beautiful, for them to all be quiet and go like, wow, that was really nice. And I'm like, fuck yeah, like this is why I do this. Yeah. I don't do this to like, oh, cool, like put it up on Spotify. Let's see if we can get like 10,000 in a day. And like, I go on Instagram, make like a fancy story with all the little like, you go on Instagram, post a story, you can do the little moving like GIFs or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, it's like, dude, man, fuck all that. That shit's so fucking annoying. And I look at all these people like, I won't even say names, but it just seems like corporate, like corny Hello Kitty fucking, just garbage. And I'm just like, what is it all about? Like, it's fucking about, it's like this, this thing right here. Yeah. This thing that you pick up and you play and you sing. That is what it's about. And it's all been diluted into this like fucking crazy shit. And I'm rambling, but COVID's really fucked up because it's it's kind of it's cornered it even more to like, you only exist online. You only exist on the internet. So it's like, I feel like people say, what do you do for a living? I just want to say I'm a professional Instagram poster, because that's what it's fucking turned us into. Yeah, this time around, yeah, it has. And that's a drag. I don't want that. And I feel the same way you do, because I'm a comedian, and I love getting up on stage, and I used to be a musician, or still am a musician, but
I used to travel and I used to, play backup guitar and stuff like that. And, I was a traveling guitarist for a while. And so I've always been up on stage. And now doing comedy, I haven't been able to do that since last year. And, I only did a handful of shows before COVID hit. And it's, I just do the podcast, and that's all I do. And you're exactly right. I upload it after I get done, recording it live. I pull the audio, I put it to my podcast, and I look at Spotify, I look at Apple, I look at Amazon, and all these different places. It's like, okay, cool, my numbers are great, but I miss, interacting with people, and I've become a bot. It feels like.
Yeah, you turn into like a fucking, like a Russian mail order bride or something. It does feel funny. Yeah, I don't like it. And I'm not too sure. I mean, it'll go away.
It will.
I've never had a cold or the flu in my life, and I've been rolling around, not entirely reckless, but I don't know if I've had it. I never, I don't know. All my friends have had it, and they're all right. Everybody's all right. Everyone just said, "Oh, I got kind of sick," So it's like, it's gonna go away. And then a bunch of people I know too are getting the vaccine and whatever. So it's like, it'll go away, and we'll get back to, being able to have gatherings, and that's what we need. I mean, you need to be, 4 feet above everybody else on a sticky fucking stage with the mic cable and all, the gaff tape and all that kind of stuff that we took for granted.
Yep.
I think that'll come back, and that'll be amazing, man. I really liked it. I was thinking the other night when I was trying to fall asleep, I was thinking about, we did a tour with Andrew McMahon, and he just like kind of like sold out all these shows, and they're big shows, like 800, 1200, like, nice, just full things. We were opening for him, and I wasn't drinking on that tour, and we opened the show where I played a solo show, a solo song, before the band came in. So just me by myself, and I'd be in the green room like doing jumping jacks, trying to get my nerves away. And I remember I'd kind of like get to like the little door to walk onto the stage, and I would just look, and I'd see all the the crowd, and I'm like, I'm just gonna walk out there, and then pick up the guitar and do this thing. And it was like fucking, you feel like you're like walking on water. I mean, it was like a very spiritual and bizarre thing to like face these nerves and to be a single man standing and having all these people look at you. And it's just like a very crazy kind of feeling.
It is.
But that's fucking beautiful. That's better than going, oh, hey man, how's this lighting? Okay, cool. Edit. Put it on Instagram. Like, oh, cool, I got this many likes. Like, it's fucking garbage, man. If all this, if I throw this phone off the balcony, we're not talking anymore. You know what I mean? It's like, it's all so empty. It's like, we got to get back to the work. You know what I mean? And I love that you're a comedian. That's, I think that they're, to me, a lot of my friends, like, are comedians. I think comedians and musicians are the most similar people in the world. I'm not so sure why. I think about like, I don't know, like I was on like Mark Maron's podcast a long time ago. I talked to Duncan Trussell a little bit, Ian Fidance. They're all like the same as musicians. It seems to me. It's like just like a different delivery system or something. But it's interesting to me because I say like, wow, like, well, how is a joke that makes somebody laugh, how is that similar to maybe a really sad song? Because those are two, they exist in polarity. Those are completely two different emotions, but they're still, it's like we're magicians. It's like we're making people have emotions that aren't there just like organically, like we're forcing emotions. And I think that's beautiful. So
I agree. I mean, especially, music for me is you know, it's the same as comedy. I mean, I use music and comedy as ways to help with my depression and my, you know, my manic days, you know, in ways that most people wouldn't even think. But, you know, sometimes, you know, it all depends on the situation. I mean, and, you know, music just touches a certain level within you, and so does comedy. The moment you can, you know, just let out all your release and whatever it is you're, you know, communicating back and forth between the person on stage or on your, you know, Amazon Echo or your phone or watching on TV, whatever the case might be, that connection is always there, and it's just, it's something that is, it transcends everything else. It really does, because it's a personal connection. You know, when you're watching, you know, I'll never forget this. It was about 6 years ago. I took my daughter to her first concert. It was a Hailstorm concert. And she absolutely loves Hailstorm. She's, you know, loves Lizzie Hale. She looks up to Lizzie for so many different things. And to watch her face when Lizzie started performing, you know, like she barely started playing guitar and singing, and my daughter was just in tears just from the excitement of seeing Lizzie live right in front of her. And that doesn't
really
happen.
nice.
It doesn't happen very often. That's something that just, you know what I'm saying? It's the connection that you get, because you feel like you know these people, because whether it's a comedian or a musician, they're out there telling stories. And whether they're sometimes are made up, they're, you know, or whether they're real and just you know, accentuated a little bit, you feel like you know them. So to have that interaction with them, it just, you know, it just does something to your brain, regardless of whether it's a cry or a laugh. It just does something to your brain and just brings out that awesome. I mean, it's an amazing emotion. I love crying to a song, and I love laughing at a joke. It's there's just something about it, and yeah, it's amazing to me. You know, like one of my especially if I can relate that song to something that has happened in my life. So about 2 years ago, I had a little over 2 years ago, I had a suicide attempt, where I was gonna drive off a cliff. That was my plan. However, just as I was getting ready to do that, a song by the band Bad Flower came on, called Ghost, which is an anti-suicide song. And I immediately stopped what I was doing. And now that song always has that memory in my head. But then about a year later, Ronnie Radke and Falling in Reverse released Popular Monster. And in that song, there's a line that says, "Crash my car just to feel again." And it's like, holy shit. Now that makes me remember that as well. So now I know every time those two songs come on, it makes me remember my suicide attempt, and it makes me cry and empowers me. It makes me feel all these wonderful things and sadness at the same time. And not much else in this world can do that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, there's nothing else that can do that, I don't think. I mean, it's not going to be, you know, the cop with the megaphone at the bottom of a building saying, "Oh, think about your." I mean, none of that's going to work. I mean, it's funny. It would be, yeah, a song. I think like a song is probably the only thing that could take someone out of that headspace. That's so, like, yeah, I've been there. I mean, I've done that. A million times, 5150s, you know, fucking, I was locked up in a mental hospital and broke out. And, you know, I've been very engulfed in the dark arts of trying to take one's life and acting, you know, really, really poorly with my body and brain and stuff. But I think, yeah, once you get in that space, you just kind of have a one-track mind, and you sort of forget everything. You forget the beauty of the world. I think, you know, having lived in that space, like, I feel as if I can talk about depression rather lucidly, just because I know what it feels like. And people say, "Oh, you must feel so sad." It's not that at all to me. You feel nothing. It's like,
Exactly. It's like,
you don't feel sun on your skin. You can't taste food. You think everyone hates you. You feel useless, and it's almost like, it's really frightening when you get in that suicidal space. And I, you know, I apologize if I'm off, and this wasn't your experience, but you just sort of feel like you can't be alive. Like your existence is embarrassing.
Yeah.
You know, you feel like pathetic or something. And it's like, because you're not tapped into anything that is beautiful. You've almost been sort of like, depression is weird. It sort of like takes you over, like a weird little monster. It just takes you over. But something like a song, it can bring you in and go, oh my God, okay, life is beautiful. It's okay. You know what I mean? Like you need that, because at least there's a fucking song. At the very least, you know, and that could be, I mean, it almost acts as like a goddamn, you know, a lighthouse for like a fucking ship in like some crazy waters. And that might, you know, kind of cliche, whatever analogy, but that's how it feels, man. Yeah, you know, that's an intense thing. I don't really know, but I do think if you are kind of cursed with what you're cursed with, and me and millions of other people, it's like you're best to really pay attention to music and books and cinema and stuff like that, and that stuff will kind of save you. You know what I mean? Like really immerse yourself in artwork and stuff, because it'll kind of give you like, I guess it like gives you a reason to live. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I firmly agree with you on that. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about, you know, wanting music to come back, you know, because I want that interaction again. I want to be able to go to a show. I want to be able to, you know, I can't even go to a brewery and see a single, you know, a solo guy just doing an acoustic set. You know, I can't even do that these days because it's just, there's nothing there, and it just absolutely sucks, which, you know, it makes me think about the future of this industry. You know, what does it look like? You know, I mean, looking at this coming year, you know, they planned for Coachella and then they just canceled it.
Yeah.
Then in October, they announced late last year that they were planning on doing Aftershock Festival in Sacramento, but that's in October. But is that going to happen? Who knows? None of the other festivals have been announced for this year, and the ones that have been announced for Europe are starting to cancel as well. Even like the big ones like Download and stuff like that, they're all up in the air. So it's like, obviously it's going to be 2022 before it really starts to kick off again. But at the same time, what is that even going to look like? And that sucks. It really does, because there's been so many indie artists over the last year that have been busting their ass, while these other bands that are being able to live off of residuals and have the big corporate money behind them aren't doing shit. And then now they're going to come back in 2022 after they haven't done anything in 2 years and take the place of all these other indie artists that have been constantly putting out, you know, music for people to listen to, or doing live streams on Twitch or concerts.org or whatever, live.org, whatever it is, and all these other places. And then it's going to be a complete flip-flop again. Oh, Metallica's ready to tour again. Sorry, guys, that you've been putting all this, you know, effort into, but we got to make room for Metallica. And that's just not right. So, you know, what are you seeing the future look like right now?
Man, I mean, I feel like we're going to have to start to do what I want to start doing, and what I've been kind of talking about is like, you sort of make like little situations like organically, like with other people, like shows and stuff like that. Like I was talking to you know, this isn't like announced or anything, but like Jack Kerouac is one of my favorite authors, like the poet, beatnik guy, and like the head of his estate, like we have a Zoom call on Tuesday, and we want to maybe do like film a show at his house, at Jack's old house in Florida, you know, so sort of just like grassroots, like small stuff, like, hey, let's set up a show, let's do this, let's play this, like whatever. You kind of, I think we might have to start, you know, probably start doing stuff like that, because like the, you know, the big sharks of like the rock world or indie world are yeah, they're going to be, you know, Ticketmaster and all the fucking whatever, the booking agents and stuff are going to want them. But it's like, we still have the ability as artists to say, oh, you know, we're going to go here and play a show and come. You know, it's like my homie Ian, the comedian, he was playing, he was doing stand-up on rooftops in Brooklyn. And there's no one
Wow.
telling him you can't do that. You know what I mean? So I think
Yeah.
we just are going to start doing shit like that. And that's kind of what I'm interested in. It's like, yeah, it would be fucking fun to play a sold out theater again. But it's like, if I can't, you know, I'll play in the fucking living room to people that like it. Because, you know, I'm not making much money either way. You know, I played a fucking theater, I make what, $500, maybe $2,500 if I'm headlining. You know, 30 of that goes to a fucking manager or a booking agent, or even if I do get the money, what am I gonna do? Fucking give the money away to homeless people or do drugs with it? It's like, who cares? You know, it's like, it's kind of like we're gonna have to start doing more grassroots, kind of like fun things, like and be creative together. Be like, hey, we're fucking sick of this shit. Like we're fucking starving, not financially or with the body hunger, but we're spiritually starving.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to see comedy. I want to see music. Well, then fucking figure it out. It's like, I could tell you, man, hey man, I want to see comedy. Hey, would you go do comedy for me in this like place? And then I'll play a song. You know what I mean? And that's all.
No problem doing that.
That's what we're gonna have to fucking do, is just say, hey, we want this to happen. Here's a space. We're all coming in. We're not afraid of the fucking pandemic, or we've already had it. We have the fucking antibodies, or we have the vaccine. Whatever. I don't give a fuck. But I think that's where we're gonna have to start being at. And I mean, I've been thinking about like goddamn, because I'm putting a record out and I'm like, I want to fucking tour, but like, I can't. It's so weird. It's a very weird thing. I just can't go on tour. And I spent a decade of my life touring. I feel more comfortable in a van, just looking at nothing pass me by, and, you know, playing shows. I feel very comfortable in that environment. It's like, I really don't know, like, especially here in LA, it's like, they say, okay, this place is open, you can do this. I don't really know when they're going to let a bunch of people be real close together, real tight together, just standing together. I don't know. I mean, that could take fucking years, or maybe never again. Yeah. Maybe they'll say, oh, there's always going to be a new strain of this or that. And it's kind of like, I don't know, it might be the end of something. If I could, you know, to be real cryptic and kind of like conspiratorial, it would be like, we may have actually seen the end of some types of like behavior. Like, we might not be able to have like any sort of things like that again.
Yeah, and that's my fear as well. I mean, even going to the movies is going to be different. You know,
I don't know if that'll ever happen again.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. You know, even like I said, the movie industry is, you know, this year they're like debating on whether or not they should even release movies. I mean, and you know, like all the Time Warner stuff, they're, you know, HBO stuff, they're all releasing it, you know, in theaters and on HBO Max. But at the same time, it's like, you know, are we going to ever have that same experience again? And I don't know if we ever will, whether it's a movie, whether it's a concert, whether it's a comedy show, or going to a Broadway play, if that's your thing. It's really weird. But it's going to be it's not going to be up to the money people, because the money people are going to look out for their own best interest. It's going to be up to the artists to finally say, enough is enough. Fuck it. Let's just go ahead and put our money together. Let's go ahead and rent out a fucking building and just have some fucking fun. You know, hopefully Budweiser or Miller will, you know, sponsor the event. We'll never know, but who knows? And let's just do it ourselves. And that's what it's going to come down to. That's it's going to have to happen.
Exactly. Yeah, it's gonna get back to grassroots and people just figuring it out and being like, I need this. I need to do this.
Yeah.
And then just doing it. And that's you know, that's okay. I mean, and then the real like irony of that is that all of the money makers are gonna see like, okay, shit, with this, like, all of our scare tactics and all this stuff to, like, you know, keep people in it. And I'm not like a COVID denier or anything like that. All I know is that I think that there is a lot of political motives and like weird shit going on with it. Just only in the sense that it's like, I've known, like, everyone I know has had it, you know, and they were fine. You know, they were just, oh, I for 2 days, like my knee was sore. Kind of like, you know, like weird, like random shit. Like kind of,
Yeah.
you know, they weren't like, I couldn't breathe and I had to be airlifted. I mean, and that can happen, and that's tragic. But I think we're gonna have to like go like, okay, like eventually we're all just gonna have to say like fuck it. Like we're still alive, and you said 2 weeks. You said 2 weeks, right? It's
Yeah.
like they said 2 weeks in March. Now they say, don't wear a mask. Now wear a mask. And now wear 2 masks. The masks don't work. It's like they're saying all this crazy stuff, and it's like, all right. After a couple years, we're gonna have to just be like, cool. It's like, dude, honestly, if like Angel Olsen or like Bonnie Prince Billy was playing a show, I'll fucking go in there, dude. If that's what kills me, if I go in there and catch COVID to watch a show, I'd rather that than fucking sit home for years and years and years. I mean, what the fuck? Like Jesus Christ, dude. I mean, I flew a fucking Cessna plane, no flying experience, with a bottle of Jaeger between my legs. It's like, you got to risk it.
Holy shit.
You know what I mean? I just...
Well, shit. That's pretty
Well,
fucking badass.
No, it was funny. It was wild. I have a video of it. I'll send it to you. I'll get your information.
Yeah, please do. I gotta see that shit.
It's pretty fucking ridiculous. It was easy to fly, but all I'm saying is that like I got that experience of flying, and it was amazing. And I think that it's like, goddamn, like how fucking, and you know, and I'm afraid for this to come on. People are like, he doesn't believe in COVID. He wants my grandparents to die. It's not like that. I get it. It's sad. It's crazy that people are dying, and I'm not just like, you know, flexing the fact that I've somehow got lucky or whatever. It's not affecting me. But I will say that after a while, man, it's like, would you rather like, you just see all this shit on whenever I was watching like Hulu and stuff like that, these like digital formats, they're just like, order groceries, order this, order that, order that. It's like, it's kind of weird, man. I want to sit home and like have these like billion-dollar companies just bring me stuff and just sit at home, watch their fucking shows, order their food. It's fucking psychotic, man.
Yeah.
I want to be on the street. Let me out on the fucking street. Let me play a song. Let a homeless guy fucking lick me on the fucking cheek. I don't give a fuck. That's fucking better, dude. Yeah. It's better. I'll go down, dude. I'll fucking go down. Put me on the fucking ventilator. I'll go down. I ain't fucking... I'm not... Dude, I can't. I won't. Just like... It's not fucking... It's not gonna happen. It just like... How? I'm a human being. I have legs. I have to move around. Like, I'm not being fucking sent Costco groceries and I'm not getting fucking stimulus checks and shit. It's like, I gotta fucking... I just don't get it. I don't understand. And it seems to me the people that are really hyped on it being like lockdown, they're the motherfuckers that got a big backyard, tons of money. They're ordering smoothies and they're just like, this is a long ass vacation, and it's fine. Because I've been all around like during this pandemic into like kind of towns that are like, you know, struck by like maybe poverty. You know, they got like a Dollar Tree and a Walmart and this and that. Fucking cowboys just walking around, no mask, whatever. You know, America's still, they're trying to go. You know what I mean? It's like, what can they do? So it's, I don't know. I went on a long rant with that, but
no, you're fine.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. I mean, you're 100% right. I mean, nothing you said is wrong there. You know, I mean, and I'm sure a lot of people feel that way about it as well. It's, you know, as far as like they go, it doesn't matter what happens to them. They just want to be able to experience life. But at the same time, they don't want to be able, you know, they don't want to, you know, hurt grandma with it either. So it's like they're
that's
caught
the whole thing.
Yeah, they're caught in a catch-22 and sometimes. But I definitely agree with you on that. I mean, if I didn't have, you know, kids and you know other people in my life, I'd be like, whatever, fuck it, I don't care. I want to do what I want to do. So I definitely agree with you on that. Yeah,
well, I'll tell you, I'm not running around like, you know, doing whatever. I'm not. I'm safe. You know, I do whatever they say to do. I do all that stuff. I will say that. I'm not like fucking doing that, but it's, yeah, like I said, just after a while, it's just like, come on, you know what I mean? It's like, fuck, like what, you know, what can you do? You just can't, you can't do it. It's not sustainable. It's just not, you know, I can't just stay inside and, you know, not leave. It's just, it's not fucking sustainable. And it's like, when will it end? They're like, and then there's a new strain or whatever, you know, so that's even more scary, be more scared. It's just like, dude, I don't know, just fucking, I mean, if that's how it is, just like literally have a government agent walk up to me and just shoot me. If it's like, I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. But, you know, I am careful. I stay away from people, you know, like, I mean, I don't really have any family, but if I had an older family member, I would stay away from them.
Yeah.
I do wear a mask and all that. But I don't know. I just think the thing is, it's all this fucking annoying, honestly.
You're not wrong. Absolutely. 100%. So, with everything that's been going on over the last year, and like we said, there is like a whole resurgence of indie music, and just a lot of different, you know, other artists that have been coming out, you know, putting stuff out. Not a lot of the bigger artists have been putting stuff out. So over the last year, what is kind of some of the stuff that you've been listening to that's kind of caught your attention, that you didn't realize was out there before? What kind of stuff are you listening to now?
Let's see. I mean, to be honest with you, I have this like app on my phone that I have two apps. I really like shortwave radio. So it's just sort of like old radio that just taps into like whatever wavelengths are around.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you know, in the 40s, you have a radio thing and it's like, you know, you move around, you find stuff.
Yeah.
I got a couple of those. I got a classical music one and a country one. And that's honestly what I listen to. I mean, I want to have a really cool answer, like I found this person, this or that. But I do just listen to this country app, and it taps me into like probably 40 to 50 radio stations throughout the U.S. So I get to hear like the advertisements and the guys talking, and you know, say, well, here's Alan Jackson, you know, Chattahoochee,
Yeah.
you know, have a good Friday. And I miss that because we don't get that anymore, because we just like get to listen to whatever the fuck we want. I want to hear a guy tell me the song, you know, tell me a little thing, tell me about a new grocery store in town. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, I fuck with that. But I will say, if I were to say new artists, as a kid, Jeremiah Moon in Seattle, he plays cello, and he's a great vocalist. And I like him. I find a couple weird people like on Instagram and stuff that I sort of listen to. There's also this like, he's probably like a 60-year-old black man that I think he definitely has like autism or something, and he posts all these videos of him trying to learn the guitar, and he just plays it so bad, like he can't, you know what I mean? He just touches it all wrong. Everything is just noisy, bad. But he has all these videos. He's like, day 3, boom, 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 horrible. And he'll post videos of him reading notation, like a Beatles songbook, like not even playing. He's like, I'm gonna read and he'll just like read it silently for like a minute long Instagram clip. I look at that guy a lot. I don't know. I find like romance and like kind of beauty in his like quest to do it. I don't know, man. Yeah, I like that guy. But no, man, I'm not really like, I'm like the world's biggest fucking music fan. But honestly, like having had, you know, done it and like being in the studios all the time and like understanding how to do it and how to like get emotion and all the tricks and stuff, I kind of like ruined it for myself in some ways. So I tend to listen to weird stuff, just classical, like background music. I don't want to really hear another guy just like blah, 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 blah. I don't want to hear like singing and I don't know. That's kind of a sad answer because people would think like, oh man, that guy must be a really big music fan. But I don't know. I like audiobooks and classical and like old country.
Yeah, it always fascinates me to ask that question. And again, it's another one of those cliche questions. What are you listening to these days? But it's fascinating to me to talk
I feel like
to.
I had a horrible answer. I'm embarrassed.
No. There's nothing wrong with it at all because it's fascinating.
Yeah.
To talk to a rapper that says, no, my favorite band out there now is all these different rock and metal bands. It's like, okay, cool. Or you talk to a rock guy and then you ask him, what are they listening to? Oh, that new Machine Gun Kelly is pretty fucking cool. And it's like, it's all the weird and crazy answers you get from it's really interesting, to know that, Korn and Jonathan Davis, they don't listen to rock at all. They only listen to rap, but yet all they do is play rock. And those types of stuff, I love knowing that kind of stuff because it just really kind of lets you know what the psyche of that person is and the inner workings and what they do to motivate them. And if it's fucking Bach helps you write the greatest fucking rock song ever, fucking listen to Bach or Mozart. Who gives a shit? But I think it's really interesting. I've gotten some crazy ass answers, and it's fascinating to me. It really is because it's just to find out, you're stuck in this one genre, according to your fans. This is who you are, so you should only listen to this stuff that's in your genre. But then you ask them that question, they're like, no, but I don't even listen to that genre. I listen to everything else, and it's like that's fucking cool, and I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that is weirdly how it is. I was talking to when we did Lesser Oceans, probably 2015, 16, I think. We had Jason McGurr from Death Cab for Cutie was the drummer. Death Cab for Cutie, a very adored indie rock band by all. They were one of the
very
biggest.
Very much so. Yep.
And we were talking, and we were in his car. We were going to the studio. And he had the turn signals on going, right? Turn signal. And he started kind of drumming on the fucking car to that. And I was like, man, that's good. Like he did a little beat. And he was like, yeah, I don't really listen to music. He said, I just kind of like hear different beats like in the world that are coming at me. And that's enough for me. That's where I get my inspiration. And I was like, God damn, he doesn't even fucking listen to bands. He listens to a goddamn crow swooping by and making a caw. And he's like, you know what I mean? Like,
that's pretty badass.
That's some wild shit. He's on that real wild guy stuff. And I'm not quite there, but I definitely told him too. I said, yeah, man, like I can't listen to stuff that sounds like me because then I'll try to, I'm so like, I guess adaptive or, yeah, that'll be the word. I would try to sort of, copy it, I guess. If I really heard something else, I would just accidentally sort of like absorb it, like usurp it and kind of start to sound like it. So I don't really, when I play music, I want it to just come from like, straight from heaven into my head and out of my hands. I don't want to, go, oh, cool, like here's a new James Blake record. Because if I listen to something that I really like, I can't help it. I'll try to sound like it.
Yeah, and most people are like that too. And that's one of the things too. Like, people that don't listen to the same genre they play because they don't want to sound like everybody else. They just want to. If it sounds like them, great. I mean, but it came from my own hands. I haven't never even heard them before, so it's like no big deal. So yeah, that I can definitely understand. That is a thing, and I can definitely understand that. I've heard that a lot of times too. Because that's just human nature, especially if you really dig the sound, you're gonna be like, I gotta recreate that, and
oh yeah, you'll fucking do it. I mean that's happened to me before, and it was I mean it sounded cool, but it was horrifying. I mean I've heard things that have inspired me so fucking heavily, like what was it? This is actually kind of cool. Like, The Weeknd is like huge right now, like Super Bowl, whatever. My friend Marco Collins is a DJ at 107.7 The End and KXP, sometimes Seattle guy. He was like first guy to play Weezer, Pearl Jam. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He was like the guy in the grunge era. He played all those first bands, and he's just like a friend of mine. He's a really cool guy, and he sent me, God, dude, probably like 2008, The Weeknd's like first demos that he sent to the radio. No, he didn't. It wasn't the record yet or anything, and it sounded so fucking cool. It was the coolest thing I ever heard, and I heard it, and then I started trying to make music like that. You know what I mean? And I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm trying to make this like hip hop, like sexy, kind of like dark, weird, kind of, you know what I mean? But it just got so a hold of me that I was just like I have to kind of emulate this because I was just so enamored by it. I guess I just can't sometimes like navigate that line of like what is being inspired versus, you know, just wanting to do it. So it's just that. So I just don't listen to fucking music anymore at all. Like really, like I said, like, because for me, if I hear like, you know, an old Hank Williams song, I'm not going to be like, I want to sound like Hank Williams. I'll just play that old shit. And it's just like nice for me. And like Debussy and Stravinsky and the classical guys, I don't get any sort of way, but yeah, it's funny. Every once in a while I hear like some pop music, and if I'm in the studio, I'll say like, "Oh, hey, like, you know, put that like that Sia vocal effect," you know, because I'll hear like a pop song. I'm like, give me that vocal tone or whatever like that. But yeah, I just gotta be pretty careful. Yeah, if I hear something I like, I want to do it. You know what I mean? I just gotta stay the fuck away from it.
Yeah, and that, again, it makes complete sense. I mean, there's no two ways around it. It makes complete sense. And it's just human nature.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, from the opposite side, you know, on the, you know, from me, you know, being the fan now, I hear that all too often. You know, I can't tell you how many times in my lifetime I've listened to a metal album, and at some point in time, they do that whole, you know, just the bass drum and a simple little riff. Hey, 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 you know, it's like Metallica used to do in the 80s all the goddamn time. And now everybody fucking does it. It's like, why are we still doing this? You know?
Well, it was so cool when they did that in Russia. The concert was like 1.6 million people.
Yeah.
I love that video. I love that stuff.
That's
and
great.
That stuff is so weird because I feel like a lot of metal like came from like a lot of like Viking stuff and sort of like, you know what I mean? That hey, it was, I think this is where it was like kind of like Viking, like just fucking like war, like battle music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, absolutely.
Because you think about like the movie Braveheart, like they, you know, like Ireland or whatever, and they're gonna charge like Wallace, like chanting stuff is very much like inherently battle. Yeah. So that old metal that does that stuff is so fucking cool. I got pretty into metal for a while. I like all that like the black metal, like Over, like Mayhem and all that stuff where it sounds really cold. It's like it's just like it sounds cold and like it's recorded badly. And it sounds like it was like made in like a forest.
Yep.
They're just like playing like these like scary chords, and you can't even. It's like bah, bah, bah. You can't even hear what they're saying. I love that stuff. I think that stuff's beautiful. But
yeah. I've never been a fan of black metal, or you know that type of stuff. I've always just been into hardcore and not even so much death metal either. Just I just love everything heavy that has a melody too.
Oh, okay.
I get that. If you do not touch the bottom 3 freaking strings, I don't want to listen to your music. If you're constantly just going open G, open G, open G, and just going the entire time, it's like I don't want to know. Sorry, that's cool for you, and you're making a living at it, and there's people that love that, and it's good music to them. But yeah, I have to have the melody. I have to be able to hear, something that just kind of makes me go, holy shit. You know what I'm saying?
Do you like? I think probably if I were to think about like my favorite, like where they're like pop, they're somehow pop, like they exist in this like terrifying realm of something so tough, but they're still pop, would be like Pantera, you know, bump, like,
Yeah.
like, wow, are you talking to me? Like, they're so fucking scary. And like, I guess that's kind of metal or hardcore, but they're like pop songs, you know what I mean? And Rage Against the Machine too. Like those guys that were like so frightening and angry, but it was like, you hear it one time, it's stuck in your head. They're like pop songs. And it's like funny to me, like with these dudes.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I mean, and don't get me, and it's still metal. I mean, but at the same time,
Yeah.
it took on a whole other life. And I see what you're saying as far as it being a pop song. Anything
Yeah.
that's like that catchy, I can definitely understand where you're coming from on that. But again, it's I just love everything about music, and it's my daily go-to to just decompress.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if I find something that's new, find something that I haven't heard before, or something that's doing something different. It's so hard to find somebody doing something different nowadays. Because like you said, everyone's copying everybody, and just to find that original sound and just be different with it is something that is taken for granted these days. Like, one of my favorite bands right now is a band out of Boston by the name of Ice Nine Kills, and their gimmick is writing songs based off of movies and poems and stuff like that, but like mainly horror stuff. And and then they act that stuff out on stage as well. So like their last album, they had a song about Jason and Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street and Jaws and everything else like that. And then you go and see them on stage and they act this stuff out. And it's different. It's it's intriguing. You want to be a part of it. And you just don't see a lot of that different stuff these days. But when you're actively trying not to be somebody else and you're trying to take everything out of and just be you, I think that is the most genuine, and I love that about you. That's pretty badass. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the most fun thing about like participating in this artwork as a musician is you really get to like be almost like grossly in your own ego. You really get to like everything like with my music, it's like my favorite music that I listen to, people will probably be surprised, but I listen to like jazz all the time. I listen to jazz all the time. I love jazz, like like jazz fusion from the 70s, like Chick Corea, Jaco Pastorius. So I listen to that stuff all the time. And then I read a lot of books, so I'm kind of like trying to do jazz and like have like sort of like the literary sort of dialogue in the song. So it's like this real weird mashup of like the stuff I like, and that's the stuff I get to put out. And it is sort of like, it's cool to be able to just live and have the human experience and what you love, and then kind of make it into a thing. I mean, the only like, I guess, problematic part of that stuff is being misrepresented. When people say, "Oh, well, you're this or that or whatever," and you're like, "Man, no, you got it all wrong. Like, I'm not that at all." People try to put you in a box or whatever. When I remember when I first started, and probably like a decade ago, everyone was like, "Oh, well, he just likes bright eyes" or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like,
just like they just pick the first thing that they know, and then try to make it like imperative or whatever. And I'm just like, man, that's not even my vibe at all. That's the only thing. I mean, I might have like lost. I think we're just talking. You're not even asking like questions. But yeah, I think it's really just like, I think about it a lot. Like, how all this stuff works, like the human experience in music and artwork and stuff, is that like Duncan Trussell said this, sort of like being a human like a beaker, right? And we're just sort of putting different mixes into it and just sort of testing weird things out. We're trying different things, you know. It's like but yeah, it's interesting, man. And I actually thought of this like yesterday. I was laying in bed. I had probably a really, really wild night. And I saw a video of a band playing, and I'm like, how absurd is this? That some men can get up on stage and play instruments, call themselves a band name, and everyone wants to watch it and clap. It's like a very bizarre thing. Like, it's like, it just makes me laugh, honestly. Like the whole like concept behind it. It's like, what we really need to be doing, or what we, you know, I'm not saying this is what we should be doing, but like technically it's kind of like, okay, cool, like we invented the wheel, arrows to fucking, you know, hunt a deer, fire. It's like we have all these things, and then we just like come up with this silly shit like, oh yeah, like let's have some guys like making noise and call them a band name, and people will just clap and adore them. And I'm like, the whole concept is so goofy.
When you put it like that, yeah, you're not wrong.
So I had like a weird like existential breakdown. I was like, did I really like be born into this world, and like I chose to be like, I'm Fences and like make music, and I'm just like that's sort of funny. Like it's not bad. I mean, it's cool, but I was just like a little bit silly, really.
Yeah. No, I get it. And you had kind of said it before, you know, like I'm not really asking questions. I don't like asking questions. I think I've maybe asked you 2 real questions. But I like having just conversations with people, you know, and kind of really getting down to, you know, who you are. And I think you've done a great job on really conveying who you are and what kind of person you are. And you're just a fucking cool ass guy that just wants to, you know, do your thing, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. You know, that's actually really admirable.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Well, I'm bad with compliments, but I will take that. I think you're a rad guy too. I think that you're kind of like, I think you're like you're born to do podcasting. I think you do it right. I think it's your thing.
Yeah, I don't like scripting things out. I don't like, you know, I just like to keep it natural and flowing. There's a couple, you know, canned questions I always ask, but those canned questions are meant to, you know, at least spark a conversation. And that's why I only have like 2 or 3 of them. So, you know, but thanks very much, man, for going with that. But let's go ahead and close it out here. You know, the newest album getting ready to drop on March 5th. You know, Failure Sculptures, you know, did you at any point in time say, you know what, I don't want to put this out because you can't tour, or did you always want to put it out no matter what?
Well, it's a re-release, so it came out before.
Correct.
But
yes.
It kind of like didn't come out. I don't know, like a lot of people that even like me were like, didn't even know it happened. Like, I can't really speak on like the fucking how, like, you know, why that was the way it was or whatever, how they pushed it. I don't even exist in that world. I kind of just make the songs and like, you know, try to smoke cigarettes and just be a guy. I don't really know what the fuck these people do with this stuff. So who knows why it didn't really, you know, gain its wings. But I was fortunate enough to reconnect with Pat Magnarella, and he was like, man, you know, I really want to re-release this, and I don't think it got enough, you know, it didn't get what it needed to get. So we said, okay, cool. And because I put it out right before COVID.
Yeah.
So that was also weird. So yeah, we just said, well, you know, put it out again. I put a couple new songs on it, and because it's a really beautiful record, and I just think we're like, fuck, dude, let's go again. Because I have a new EP that's gonna come right after it that I'm really proud of. and it was like, okay, let's put that out, then that out. So the re-release is sort of like a, you know, the left hook, and then, you know, the next record is going to be like the knockout punch with the right hand. So it's kind of one of those things. But yeah, it's a great record, and yeah, just needed a little bit more attention. And I think we like focused more on like Europe or whatever, like it, because it wasn't even released in Europe and all, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all like weird. It's weird stuff that that's a hard question. So I kind of just I don't really know so much like that world and stuff. But I know they're like going to like radio in a way that we didn't before, and you know, just kind of that type of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to ask that about you, because I know it was released last year, and then this is the deluxe version of it, but and I like that idea of re-releasing it if it didn't gain traction the first time, especially if you're proud of it. You know, if you're proud of it, fucking push the shit out of it, and that's again is pretty badass. You know, because most people would say, oh, you know, I really like it, but they didn't like it. Let's just go ahead and leave it alone. But no, you know, try again. You know, if you believe in it, might as well. I mean, especially if it's a passion project, and you know, if you got an EP that's dropping right after that you're even more proud of, push the shit out of it, man. I mean, and I can't wait to hear it, because I mean, I've listened to, you know, Sculptures, and it's an amazing album. It really fucking is.
Thanks. That's nice of you.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking badass, and you know, I've been looking forward to this, you know, conversation all week because of that album. And it's like, damn.
What's your favorite song on the record, do you think? Not to put you on the spot. If you don't know the name, if you know like a melody or something, I'm just genuinely curious.
I'd have to go back and look. Because I've listened to it twice all the way through.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Hold on a second. So, A Mission's a good song. But let's see here. Hold on a second. Let me pull it back up, because I had it. I was listening to it earlier today. Me and my promotional fucking link. A Mission's a fantastic song, and I like Paper Route as well. Yeah, those two songs are a great way to start off an album, and it really kind of sets the tone for the rest of the album.
Yeah.
But those two first songs, and then Wooden Dove is pretty fucking badass as well.
Thanks. That was a hard one to write. That's a really like proper, like that's like a proper song. Like the chord changes up. That would be like, Wooden Dove for me feels like my skill set fully being used to write a song. You know, it's like that was like not hard, but I was just like really trying, you know, like the way it kind of moves around a lot. It was like, oh, don't you cry, we're only alone for one life. It's like the melody of it is very classic and everything. So I like that song a lot. Yeah, that was a hard one to write.
Yeah, when I'm listening to these albums to prepare for a show, you know, they're usually just on in the background, and you know, I'm doing the dishes, I'm cleaning the house, it's earlier in the day or whatever.
Right.
But Wooden Dove is definitely the one that stuck out the most. But again, you know, the first two songs really set the tone for that album, and it does a great job of that. And you know, I think the way you pieced it together, you know, all the songs, you know, the way you worked it, you know, put it together, worked perfectly. It seems like it flows very nicely, and it doesn't seem like there's any harsh cuts in between the two different songs, and it's really really nicely laid out.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think that's kind of a forgotten art. I really am into you know, how like I like to like make albums, you know. I really like at the end of recording a record, I really I just get crazy about like what song should go after what song, and to make it like a real like linear and kind of, you know, whatever, like a kind of like a little story, and I want it to flow. So it's like very important to me, even though I kind of am aware of the fact that like, you know, people are just going to listen to like 2 of them. I know that, but I'm still just like, yeah, it needs to be, you know, this has to be a flow of these songs because that's the thing.
Yeah, and I'm definitely one of those people that will only listen to 2 or 3 of songs on an album, but only if the things that I just mentioned happen. You know, the harsh cuts in between 2 songs. You know, where there's a definite, you know, it doesn't work together. Why did they put this song behind this song? And you know, and also if the flow of the album just doesn't work overall, it's like I can't listen to the whole album. But someone that actually puts the time and effort into making sure that 1 flows into 2 and 2 flows into 3, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, trying to tell a story within each song to make a whole story by the end of the album, I love that. And that's what drives me to listen to a whole album. Whether it's, you know, and that's one of the things I love about concept albums, you know, that they're out to actually make a whole 12-song story. And I love that. That's one of my favorite bands out there is Coheed and Cambria. You know, that's what they're known
cool.
for.
I love them.
Yeah, they're known for that. They're known for nothing but storytelling, and they even incorporate comic books in with it. But, you know, which makes me even more of a nerd for them. But that's what I love about. You know,
they pulled all that stuff. Most of that stuff they pulled from like Rush. Like I used to love Rush, like 2112, and all that stuff. Like the old prog rock Rush. Yeah, 2112. That record. It was a constant. Yeah, the concept album was like a 1970s like prog rock thing.
Yeah.
And Rush and like Yes, King Crimson, all that shit. That's what really sparked like Coheed and Cambria. I used to like them probably goddamn 20 years ago. I liked Coheed and Cambria. But yeah, that stuff is wicked. If you haven't heard it, listen to 2112. That concept record is crazy.
I know I have heard it. I just haven't heard it in such a long ass time.
It's just basically like music is like outlawed, and then by the end of the record, like a guy finds a guitar like, you know, under a rock or something, and then he like shows it to like the judge and jury, and he's like, I found this thing, and like I want to play, and then like he starts like solo. It's fucking awesome. It's funny, but you know, it's cool.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't heard that album in so long. You know, you're saying it, it's like I vaguely remember that. I don't even remember much about it. I gotta go back and listen to it now. But yeah. I mean, and I still love Coheed. I mean, I saw them in 2019 perform in Baltimore. They're fucking fantastic. But
yeah, the guy's got a good voice, man. Real high.
I
really,
love it. Especially for the size that guy is. Claudio Sanchez is a big fucking dude, and the way he can fucking sing, just the first time I ever saw him, you know, live, I was like, that voice is coming out of that dude.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah,
he's got he sounds like a fairy or like I don't even know, like a bee. It's just like this tiny, like really high, crazy voice.
Yeah, I mean, he's got that. He definitely sounds like, you know, Geddy Lee or, you know, definitely some Led Zeppelin influences there. But that's just that. But even when he talks, he has a naturally high speaking voice. So it's like, okay, I can, you know, it's not mimicry. It's just that's what he is. That's what he sounds like.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of my favorite. I love when I hear like singers talk and they sound like how they sing. I'm always like, oh man, that's cool. It just makes it feel like a little bit more honest. I'm like, oh, that's just like that's, you know, God gave you this like certain type of molecular structure in your throat, and you're just singing naturally.
Yeah.
You know, not doing anything fake.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, cool.
Because that's another thing that happens too often is people try to mimic the sound of one of their favorite artists as far as like their voice. And that's like, come on, you know, that's horrible, but you know, it happens. But dude, again, I can't express enough to you. I mean, like, the album is badass. So, you know, guys, take a listen to it. You know, March 5th, you know, listen to the re-release of it. Listen to the new songs that are on it. It's a beautifully written record, and you know, you just definitely deserve the praise that that this. I mean, it's worthy of the praise it's going to get, and you know, it's going to be awesome, and I appreciate so much the thought and effort that you put into it, and I just want to say thank you for that.
Thanks, man. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Dude, you're a badass, and it was so much fun talking with you tonight. Thank you very much for having this conversation with me, and
It was great, man.
it was exactly what I wanted out of it. But dude, take care of yourself. I can't wait to see you. Hopefully, get back on the road and come see you. You know, once you're back out there. As soon as you're on the East Coast, you know that I'll be in the fucking front row, man. So, dude, just hopefully we'll get back to it soon.
Right on, man. Thank you, brother. Had a good time.
No problem, man. But you have a great rest of your night. Enjoy your weekend, and hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Okay, cool. Bye-bye.
All right, man. Bye. And that's our show. What a cool fucking guy. All the links for his stuff is down below in the video and in the podcast, so definitely take a look and listen to that. Fucking cool ass guy. What a great guy. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's been a hell of a week. We'll be back at it again on Monday. But until then, you guys stay happy, stay healthy, and as always, stay fucking heavy. We'll see you guys on Monday. Peace.